Hello and welcome back to Tiny Artist TV. It is a new month and you know what that means, or maybe you don't. So I'm going to tell you what that means. So as of last month, I had started to resume, that doesn't sound right. I'm resuming my Zodiac D&D type series where I'm taking each member of the Zodiac and I'm transforming them into a fantasy type character based on what archetype I think they would be. So June, for the most part, is Gemini. I know it's kind of split up with Cancer as well, but June is going to be Gemini. The last month was Taurus. And for me, I think Gemini best encapsulates a pair of bards just to kind of catch that duality. So that's what I'm going to be drawing for today's video. And then of course, as it goes on, I'm also going to be sharing some astrology facts and some backstory and just other little fun things based around the Zodiac as the drawing goes on. So hope you guys enjoy. And here is Gemini. So why would I choose a bard for Gemini? Well, in my opinion, especially since Gemini is usually shown as a sort of almost a Western version of yin yang, having the duality of good nature, bad nature. I feel like drawing them as a pair of clowns with the famous tragedy comedy theater masks was the easiest way to kind of incorporate that duality. And there's a couple other reasons. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into the personality traits of Gemini, as well as the origin of this star sign. So Gemini's dates are May 21st through June 20th, and even though there are some discrepancies amongst other details, amongst most of the websites I found, Gemini seems to exhibit a very extroverted personality. They're often described as energetic and outgoing and very social. The Gemini I know, I would say is social-ish. Kind of more of a, kind of once you get them out of their shell. So an extroverted introvert. Like once you get them to start talking, they don't stop talking. It's funny though, is because the Gemini I know was really into music, and one of the websites I found, according to their interests, they like music, books, magazines, chatting, and trips. So, I mean, I guess that kind of lines up with, and I can't verify this by just like one person. Especially since the interest, like books and music and magazines, and I think I talked about this in my Taurus video too, is that it's kind of hard to find people who don't enjoy this thing, but I guess like it's more so a person who is very like passionate about that particular thing. Like it's someone who creates music or produces music versus someone who just likes to listen to it. Whereas with Taurus, even though Taurus likes music, it's more of a sensory thing versus a creative thing. But as far as like, again, with like books, music, conversation, this all kind of ties into Gemini apparently being very extroverted. And the website I'm looking at now says they are expressive and quick-witted. The Gemini I know is very sarcastic, always has some kind of joke or comeback, and is just like a very bright personality, which is funny because Gemini is an air sign, but they're also associated with the sun, so all of this just kind of comes back into all of the the bright good things of Gemini, despite the conception that Geminis are two-faced because it's a twin sign, which is not so much. It's more so that, according to what I've found here, they very rarely have any kind of like hidden agenda, but it's more so that because they don't hide their emotions, it can almost seem like they're multiple people. They are not afraid of showing their range of emotions and personalities and interests and things of that nature. Apparently other strengths that they have are they are gentle and affectionate, very curious, adaptable, and they have an ability to learn quickly and exchange ideas. However, their weaknesses are that they are nervous, inconsistent, and indecisive. They dislike being alone, being confined, and they dislike repetition and routine. And again, this is all coming from a couple different sources, and I only know one Gemini, so I can't confirm or deny how accurate these perceptions are of this particular star sign. So you'll just have to take my word for it. Or if you know a Gemini, confirm it down in the comments. But again, of course, all of this ties into why I chose to represent Gemini as bards. And I'm thinking of bards from a D&D stance, not necessarily from a historical medieval stance, even though I have dressed them in historical Harlequin costumes. So bards are usually very quick-witted, kind of adventurous, kind of cheeky. I do eventually change the design at the end. I add a little something because of one of the stories I found, which again just like really ties into my smart choice in making Gemini a bard, is that one of the twins, I believe it was Castor, and I'll confirm this later when I get into the origin story of Gemini. One was a fencer, one was a boxer. So bards are usually seen with finesse weapons. Depending on your campaign, it could be something like, simple daggers and rapiers, which are used in fencing. The rapiers, not the daggers. Or light weapons such as the fantasy equivalent of a gun. But yeah, and also the fact that apparently Gemini's power color is yellow. So to make everything just kind of like bright and cheerful with this not quite a ominous sad undertone, but almost a not quite serious sad undertone, just fits into the personality of Gemini, fits into the traditional depiction of bards and bardic personalities. Something else that I incorporated into choosing my color palette as well was June's birth flower and birth stone. So the birth flower is a rose, which I actually ended up not including that in the color palette. I could have done yellow roses, but I felt like I had enough going on with the staff and everything. But the birth stone is a pearl, and pearls can either be white or black, again going into the multiple expressions of Gemini. So I made one white and yellow, and I made the other one black and yellow, and you can see my color palette up top here. So that's kind of what went into the design choices for Gemini. And with that being said, let's get into some stories now. So one of the main stories is, I had mentioned like not too long ago, that the two main stars are named after a pair of brothers, Castor and Pollux, or Castor and Polydeuces. I don't know why I said that with the French accent. It's a Greek name, so it's Polydeuces. Castor and Polydeuces grew up together and were very close. Castor was an excellent horseman and proficient at fencing. He's said to have taught Heracles himself defense, and Polydeuces was famed for his boxing skills. The two were part of the Argonauts' expedition to get the Golden Fleece, and Polydeuces' boxing skills came in handy when Amycus, a son of Poseidon, who ruled Asia Minor, refused to let the Argonauts leave until one of them fought him in a boxing match. Talk about divine intelligence there. Polydeuces accepted the challenge and easily won. The twins came to the crew's rescue on a number of occasions. They've been known as the patron saints of sailors, and were said to have been given the power to rescue sailors who were shipwrecked by the sea god Poseidon, who also gave them 2 white horses, which the twins often rode. The zodiac constellation of Gemini is one of the first constellations listed by the Greco-Roman astronomer Ptolemy. In Greek mythology, the constellation of Gemini was associated with the twins Castor and Pollux, or Polydeuces, as I mentioned. Even the name Gemini translates to twin in Latin, and the mythological twins were the children of Leda, the Spartan queen, and are associated with the Argonauts. Now, one source I found says that Leda was seduced by Zeus, but as mentioned in my last video, I think we know what that means. And I actually did find another article with the same story that explicitly states that Leda was in fact raped by Zeus. And I had known about the swan story, but I didn't know it was this one, so everything's coming full circle. So Polydeuces was the product of a rape, and Queen Leda became pregnant with, of course, Polydeuces and his sister Helen, who would later become known as Helen of Troy. Leda later became pregnant with Castor and his sister Clytemnestra. I'm gonna put that on the screen so you can look her up, who would later marry Agamemnon and eventually murder him, then be killed by her own son, Orestes. Castor and Clytemnestra, oh my goodness, Clytemnestra were fathered by Tyndareus, and unlike Zeus's children, were mortal. How these two became immortalized together, because even though they are represented as the twins, they are obviously not twins. As a matter of fact, they're half brothers, separated by a couple of years there. So, as mentioned, the twins very frequently traveled with Jason and his band of Argonauts, and on one of their adventures, Castor and Polydeuces eventually clashed with Idas and Lynceus, who were also twins and former Argonauts, over two women, Phoebe and Hilera. The other two brothers were engaged to them, and Castor and Polydeuces carried the women off. I guess the apple doesn't fall too far from the seduction tree. Idas and Lynceus pursued them, and in the end there was a fight between the four. Lynceus stabbed Castor, the younger brother, with a sword, and when Polydeuces saw this, he killed Lynceus. When Idas saw his brother die, he attacked Polydeuces, but Zeus, being Polydeuces' father, intervened and sent a thunderbolt which saved his son. Polydeuces asked Zeus to share his immortality with his dead brother, and the god placed them both in the sky, where they remain inseparable as the constellation of Gemini. The two brightest stars in the constellation, Alpha and Beta Geminorum, mark the twins' heads. However, not everyone identified the constellation as Castor and Polydeuces in ancient times. It was also identified by Hyginus and Ptolemy, and they associated the two stars with Apollo and Heracles instead, who were half-brothers and again both sons of Zeus. That brings us to the end of today's video for Gemini. Like I said at the beginning, I hope you guys enjoy this if you watched all the way to the end. And if you know any Geminis, tell me what they're like. Like I said, I only know one Gemini, so I don't know how accurate these personality traits are. And I hope you guys had fun learning a little bit more about the star signs. So the next video, of course, is going to be Cancer, the crab. And, well, not the next video on my channel, the next video in the series. Either way, I hope you guys stick around, but until then, have a weird day.